y bienvenidos a la Daily Hustle. Soy Enrique Byrnes y presidente es el mejor cerveza. No abate por No Filter Network. Miguelito San Dieguito not with us today. Will the Thrill not with us this morning, but as you guys know, we come on here each and every single morning with or without them, dead or alive, and we properly salute our boys as well as each and every one of you. Yes, 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 yes. Whew. Remember this, folks, when we were juiceful, we are useful, and when we are juiceless, we are fucking useless. A very pleasant good morning to you on the 7th day of October, 2020 for our Daily Hustle quote of the day. And forgive me if I used this the other day. It was our Saturday special edition. I'm just not sure how many people tuned into that one. Regardless, this one's worth repeating. Don't waste a minute trying to vindicate to others the merits of your performance. I love this. I love it. I really do. And the bottom line is that time is the most limited resource that we have, and also the most valuable resource that we possess here on Earth. And so that time essentially needs to be used in productive manners in which we are doing great things, in which we are creating great things, in which we are working hard towards goals. And if we take some of that time and we allot it, or say give it away to trying to convince others that what we're doing is important, we're wasting our fucking time. There is no need to try to influence outsiders who we can't influence anyway. It's crazy because, this could go to parental relationship with their children, where it's a kid that's trying to get the validation of the parents, or this could be the worker that's trying to get the validation of the boss, the student with the teacher, or vice versa, whatever. Look, certain things in life we can't control. So when we waste our time focusing on those things, then essentially all it does is it puts us back. Now, sure, we all like vindication. We all like to be celebrated for what we're doing. We all believe, most of us at least, is that what we're doing is worthwhile. But if I were to come on here on the Daily Hustle every morning and I need to go out now and I need to tell everybody, hey, look, you have to do this. You have to tune in because it's the most important thing in the world. And this and that is like, well, fuck. I love it. I think it's important. I think there's a certain life optimization element of what we create here that's really cool. But no matter what, I can't waste my time going out there and trying to validate what this is. Look, hopefully we come on here, I can make you guys smile. We're going to talk about baseball, sports, current life events. We're going to throw a quote out or two. We'll try to explore it. And ideally, you guys like it enough to be able to share it. The same is true with our Deuces Wild show that I do with Thrill. We come on, we create, but when we immerse ourselves in the product creation, that's typically when we vindicate it, right? And we don't have to convince others because our product is doing the convincing for itself. So same sort of thing. And I tell my kids this all the time is, they all chase their athletic endeavors. The ones who have to tell you about how great they are at something just aren't. So let's just say pickleball, for example. If I have to come on here and tell you how great of a pickleball player I am, I'm not. If I had to tell you how great of a baseball player I wasn't. The ones who are the best don't have to say shit. Why? Because their work ethic, and their performance is going to speak for itself. So, on that note, let's let our work effort, and our performance speak so loudly that we can't fucking hear anything what anybody else is saying. All right. On that note, let's get right into it. The Major League Baseball playoffs from yesterday. What a day. What a weekend in sports in general. But we will start with the San Diego Padres and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Last night, the Padres hit 6 home runs en route to a 10-2 victory. Fernando Tatis Jr. has been one of the hottest hitters on the planet, if not the hottest hitter on the planet. He's been absolutely killing it, hitting 600 in the playoffs here. He's got homers every at-bat, every take. Looks like this guy is dialed in. He is fun to watch. He is good for the game. He plays the game the right way. He plays hard. He hustles. He seems very humble. He obviously comes from a legacy where Fernando Tatis Sr., he got to grow up in a big league clubhouse. I think that obviously has helped him. There's been some growing up that has had to happen over the years. Obviously, he was suspended for PEDs. That, it's the he said, she said thing. Doesn't matter. He served his suspension. He's come back, and he's taken on this leadership role through action. That's one of my favorite phrases, the Tillman Foundation. That was their motto when they first created the foundation. It's leadership through action. Now, fuck your words. I don't need to hear words. All due respect to Manny Machado, who's out there and had that big meeting last night on the field. It's your actions that speak louder than words. So I'm not doubting that, Manny is the leader in the clubhouse, and he certainly is the guy that called that team meeting last night and rallied the troops as just complete and total fucking chaos was happening at Dodger Stadium. But I like the guy that leads on the field. And even though I come on here and I'm all words, I wasn't extremely vocal in the clubhouse. I wasn't. I always wanted to let my play dictate who I was. And that's what's so beautiful about baseball, is that you have the ability to express yourself and your feelings through your actions. It just goes along with the quote that we started with this morning. And it was Thomas Wentworth Higginson, by the way, who was a great patriot, a great American, huge in the civil rights, and basically huge supporter of African Americans, and in the early stages and getting their freedom. I mean, he's just go read about him. He's awesome. So anyhow, it's those actions. It's like you say all the right fucking things, and none of it matters unless you're out there doing everything you can. So when it came to being a leader in the clubhouse, I don't want to say I didn't talk. I did talk, and I would do what I could to fire up the boys. But it's like, once you get to that professional level, dudes, all the talking's done on the field. We could sit here and the words are words or whatever, and we could debate about it and talk about it later, but your actions are a reflection of your commitment. Jim Byrnes, that's what my dad used to always tell me. Let your actions reflect your commitment. So San Diego in Fuego last night. So the play that everybody is talking about is Jurickson Profar going into the stands and robbing a home run and then coming back and doing a little dance as he's looking back at the Dodger fans. And then he turns around and throws it back in. Well, Mookie Betts thought it was a home run, even so much so he put up his fist like this, celebrating it. And then he realized, oh shit, Profar caught it. So he hightails it back to the dugout. The boos rained down in Dodger Stadium. Later in the contest, Jurickson Profar, I think for what I saw, and there's all different videos out there. I love it. Everyone's become a cameraman. But he gave a ball to the fan that he took the home run ball from. That fan then chucked the ball onto the field saying, fuck off, I don't want it. It looked like a friendly interaction, but then there was another ball that was thrown towards Profar's direction, and that's when Jurickson Profar got pissed, and the whole upheaval happened at Dodger Stadium. Shildt coming out saying, oh, I don't know if my guys are safe out here. Look, whether they were water bottles, whether it was a baseball, I'm not condoning fans throwing anything on the field. I will say, though, as somebody who played in the Dominican Republic and played in the championship game between Licey and Águilas in Santiago, I had fucking bottles of Brugal thrown at me. And it doesn't make what happened last night any lighter. But as everyone freaked out about it, I'm thinking that I'm having flashbacks of when I was in Santiago, game 9 of the best of 9 series in left field. And Byrnes. So Santiago was Aguilas' home. At the time, I was a popular figure there, obviously played for the other team. So this isn't new. Everyone's trying to portray the Dodger fans as some sort of savages. They're not. They got a little caught up in the moment. A few things went flying on the field. I remember when the umpires blew a call in the NLCS when we were playing the Rockies at Chase Field. And they ended up calling Justin Upton out for, I think it was obstruction or something, some bullshit. And Diamondbacks fans started throwing a bunch of stuff on the field. This isn't just LA fans. Fans get rowdy, and it's just all part of it. So, anyhow, if you're Dodger fans, I understand your frustration. I think I'd be frustrated too. And if you're the Los Angeles Dodgers in general, even Mookie Betts, and a lot of people have been asking me, like, what's protocol on that when it comes to robbing a homer and, being able to show it? Protocol on something like that is you don't want to wait too long, because what you're doing is you are showing up the guy that hit it. And it'd be the same as pimping a homer and walking all the way down the fucking first base line, at least. So my wife actually brought that up. Tara's like, it's kind of like the defensive version of pimping a homer. And it is in some ways. I do think it's fun for a second, because there's this, did he catch it? Did he not catch it? And I robbed several homers in my day, several. And I think for the most part, I would come back, I'd bring it back, and I was so excited that I'm jumping up and down and showing it. There was once or twice where I went up, I took it back, and I waited a second and then just tossed it up out of the glove and threw it in. But I was always cognizant of the hitter, because it hurts bad enough that a motherfucker just took not only a homer away from you, but a hit away from you, right? And then to have this dramatic letdown, like you guys saw Mookie Betts' face. This is Mookie Betts. This is a top 5 player in the game of baseball, and he was just demoralized. So it certainly is a dick move. Now, Machado went back and forth with Jack Flaherty. So Flaherty ends up hitting Tatis. This is after he had a double and a homer. And then Machado, I guess, was popping off. Flaherty then strikes out Machado and tells him to sit the fuck down. Machado and him go back and forth, back and forth. It looked like they were saying, yo, let's meet in the parking lot type of thing. what's funny is people talk this fucking big game all the time. And they do. And it was happening in the Brewers. I think Brewers and Mets were going at it. It was Jesse Winker and I think it was Willie Adames. And it's like, I'll meet you in the parking lot. It's just like, fuck, come on. I mean, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it. You don't tell me you're going to do it. If you want to meet someone in the parking lot, it's not even the parking lot. You want to meet them, go in the tunnel. And it certainly has happened before. I've heard the stories of this happening before. It was way more of a thing back in the day where you could go fight and boys would be boys and you'd have to worry about anyone getting arrested or suspended or anything else. Well, look, we don't live in that day and age anymore. You'd like to think a little bit more of a civilized society. Okay, so the other game that took place yesterday was the New York Mets at the Philadelphia Phillies. And this one turned into an instant classic. Mark Byrnes, who's got a great story. So Byrnes grew up in New York, and his father was a diehard Mets fan. So Byrnes grew up a Mets fan. Now, he ended up going to high school in Florida, but still maintained that fandom, and he ends up getting drafted by the Mets, has basically hit his way up all through the minor leagues. He's banged at every level, and he gets sent down at the start of the year, then gets called back up. Terrific year. I mean, this is a guy that he could flat out bang. He had a game-winning homer, I think it was beginning of September. And this is when the Mets were making their big push. They ripped his shirt off the end. This dude's stacked. It's just really an epic moment. So Byrnes goes deep, not once, but twice. And if you watch him and his approach at the plate, it's so quiet. And you're seeing him take balls just off the corner and not even flinching. Just high and not even flinching. He actually got rung up on a ball that was right on the corner, maybe just off, debatable. But he ends up taking this pitch, gets rung up. You could see this guy is so confident in his strike zone. He had a 2-strike take on a high fastball that was, 3 inches above the zone. That was like, oh, fuck. This is how you know this guy is locked in. So amongst all this, basically how it played out yesterday was Byrnes puts them on the board. They go up 2-0. You had Pete Alonso, the polar bear, put them up 3-0. It was like dire straits here. It was for the Phillies, the place was then, the time was now. Like, this had to happen. Sure enough, I think it was a Trey Turner base hit, a Bryce Harper home run, gets him on the board. It was just like this collective sigh of relief. And then Nick Castellanos, somewhat of a controversial figure, only because Phillies fans have given him a hard time for chasing balls out of the zone. Well, Castellanos then gets a breaking ball, sweeper, sends that up into the stands, and now it's 3-3. Well, Brandon Nimmo then responds, comes up in the top half of the next inning. He hits a bomb. They go up 4-3. Phillies come back. Now it's Bryson Stott, 2-run triple. They take the lead again. They go up 6-4. And this is when Byrnes is like, you just can't stop me. And ends up hitting this high heater out from Stram, ties up the game, 6-6. You get to the bottom half of the inning, and this is when you had a 2-out walk to Trey Turner. Then you had a walk to Bryce Harper, setting the stage for Castellanos, who swings at 2 pitches out of the zone, hones it in, said he was going to sit on the breaking ball no matter what, got it, boom, base hit, left field, Phillies win. What a fucking game. It was really, really fun to watch. I can't think of the last time I was this excited about two different series in the ALDS or NLDS or whatever DS there is. DS. Championship series, yeah, sure. The divisional series between the Padres and the Dodgers feels like a fucking World Series. And so does the Mets and the Phillies. Maybe because they're both regional. Maybe because there's bad blood always between Philly and New York. But specifically now between San Diego and Los Angeles. And then there's the whole element of San Diego Padres deciding that they were going to limit ticket sales to people within a certain area. So what they've really tried to do is not let Dodger fans take over their home ballpark. I mentioned this the other day. I think it's bullshit. It's just un-American. As far as I'm concerned, look, if you want to go to the game and you want to buy a ticket, buy a ticket. And as much as the Padres want to try to limit this, you can't fucking do it. Right? If you're a Dodger fan and you have the means, you're going to get to that game. Now, the question becomes, how many of those people are going to go? And the other question is, how many San Diego fans are going to sell out because those tickets are already accounted for and sell their tickets. If you put your tickets up for sale and you're putting them on the secondary market, you just got to assume that it's going to be a Dodger fan. So that series resumes tomorrow. I think everyone needed a little bit of a break. Today, you have the Detroit Tigers at the Cleveland Indians. It is Tarik Skubal against Boyd. I like the Tigers. The game goes off at 1:08 p.m. Pacific time. So that is going to be an afternoon matinee. An interesting start time in Cleveland because that puts it at 4 o'clock in Cleveland. So Tarik Skubal is tough enough to hit anyway. But then you back it up with the fact that you got to do it in the shadows. That's going to be a very difficult task for hitters. I like the under in that contest. As far as the New York Yankees and Kansas City Royals are concerned, they played a banger in Game 1 in New York, which the Yankees prevailed. Game 2, it's going to be Reagans against Rondon. Reagan's clearly the better pitcher this season, so it'll be interesting to see how that one shakes out. Kansas City's got to have this one. They got to have it. I mean, obviously, best of 5 series, short series, but if they're able to get this one, you go back to KC, yeah, they have a very realistic shot of winning this series. Now, I'm still not going to come off of the fact that I think the Yankees, I felt this way about the Dodgers too. I think this Dodgers one is just coin flip at this point. 66% of series, by the way, that have been won by, let me try to get this right. 66% of the series have been won by the team that's going back home when it's split 1-1. That's a big number. I would have never guessed that number. And you can see how they all of a sudden have an advantage, right? It's home field advantage. That was 3 games left. Yeah, I could see it being a little bit of an advantage. And then I was reading that, you have the teams that were down 0-2. I think it was like 80 out of 90 have completed it. Somehow, some way, I happen to be on a couple of those teams that were up 0-2 and did not finish it off. So a lot of baseball. I love the fact that they split it, so they gave the Yankees and the Royals the off day. This way, we're going to be able to have baseball today. So I know Will gets very upset with the schedule makers, and I get it and I understand. I do like the fact that we get baseball every day. This is one of the best times of the year. Okay, the NC2A saw a major shakeup in the rankings because there were 4 top 10 teams that ended up losing. Just crazy to think. The main one was Alabama going down to Vanderbilt in Nashville. So after the victory, the Vandy students storm the field. They take down the goalpost, and then they march it all the way to Broadway. And I was explaining this to my kids. It's like, that's not right there. It's a long way. It's a few miles at least to get it to Broadway. They parade the goalpost down Broadway. And then, of course, what do they decide to do with the goalpost? They put it in the fucking river. I love college football. I mean, that is the beauty of it. So, look, if the NIL and the transfer portal calls for or creates more parity in this game, I think that's a good thing. Dynasties are fine, but when you're the best team in college football for fucking 20 years in a row, it's just not good. I don't think so. I like the shakeup at the top. I like the fact that you could have a team like Vandy take down the number one team in the land in Alabama. And if you're a college football fan, I don't care, baseball fan, this is true to every single sport. The letdown is real. So to think that there they were 1 week after taking down Georgia, the number one team in the land, and now a week later they're at Vandy and they're losing, you got to get up. You got to be able to play. You've got to do whatever it takes to find fucking motivation. All the best players of all time, Michael Jordan, Tom Brady specifically, this dude would find anything. He'd go search, scour, whatever it was to find a reason to want to beat that team's ass that week. I think the guy would make up shit sometimes, right? But he was constantly motivated to, this is my reason. Everyone's going to have a reason. And so if you're Alabama, you're like, oh, Vandy, they're so cute and this and that. And, well, you better get up to fucking play because the college football world right now is nuts. The rankings, this is 1 to 134. The top 10 looks like this. Texas, 5-0. Ohio State, 5-0. Alabama, now 4-1. They dropped to 3. Georgia is number 4 at 3-1. Oregon's at 5-0. Penn State's at 5-0 after destroying my Bruins. Miami, although Bruins did cover. Good coaches win, great coaches cover. Miami 6-0 after that comeback at Cal. Cal's up 35-10 and they couldn't fucking close it out. Oh, that was a heartbreaker. BYU is 5-0 in ranked number 8. Tennessee 4-1 at number 9. Clemson 4-1 at 10. And it says here Texas slides up to number 1 after Alabama's loss, but the Longhorns won't have it easy with Oklahoma and Georgia over the next 2 weeks. That's going to be a very difficult stretch. Alabama and Georgia sit ahead of Oregon, Penn State, and Miami because they've each got a better best win. And because Oregon has been close to losing a few times, Ohio State finally played what I think is a quality Iowa team and pulled away with the 35-7 win. However, we get Ohio State and Oregon this week. So get ready for another shakeup at the top. Miami rallied back from the win at Cal and moved up to number 7. BYU slides up to 8 after an idle week because of what happened elsewhere, including SMU's continual rise, which helps BYU due to the Cougars' 18-15 win at SMU. Clemson has already climbed back up into the top 10 as well. The Tigers continue to roll. Yeah, what's going to be interesting is we might have an undefeated team or a one-loss team maybe getting left out of that top 12. I'll explain it in a second because here we go. You got Iowa State. Now we're at 11, okay? Iowa State is at 11, and they're 5-0. Kansas State is at 12, 4-1. Then you got Notre Dame at 13. So Notre Dame is who lost earlier to Northern Illinois. Bad loss. I get it. Well, their win at Texas A&M is looking a lot better. Texas A&M is now 5-1. And Indiana, by the way, so Indiana's 6-0. They're at 14 right now. So they would be on the outside looking in of a college football playoff. It's tough to get into the top 12. They always said it, right? Because when they came down to the 4, it's like, oh, really hard to figure out the 4. Like, well, bring it to 12 and there won't be any controversy. Of course there's going to be controversy because who's ever 13, 14, or 15 is going to be pissed. Well, we get to Ole Miss at 16-5-1, SMU at 17-5-1, Boise State at 18, Missouri at 19, LSU at 20. All these teams are 4-1. Utah at 21, Oklahoma at 22, all 4-1. Then you get the Navy. Let's celebrate Navy here for a second because my guy, Eric Lewis, one of my best friends from high school, is on that coaching staff, and they have now cracked the top 25. Nice fucking work. To be able to do that at Navy, it's no easy task. And they've got, they're above Illinois. They're above Michigan. Michigan, by the way. Michigan was 4-1 and then went into Washington and got beat down by the Huskies in a rematch of what was the national championship. So there's your top 25 in the college football world. As far as the NFL is concerned, let's go over the scores from yesterday. I don't know why I always try to hide my CBS Sports app, but I do. Anyhow, the scores from yesterday. You had the Vikings going to 5-0, beating the Jets. Vikings are legit. They've had wins against the Niners. They've had wins against Houston, the Packers, and now the Jets. This team's for real. Honestly, they're the best team in football right now. I would not give that title to anybody else, including the Kansas City Chiefs, who will try to go to 5-0 tonight. The way they're playing, you got Justin Jefferson, who's one of the best receivers of all time. You have Sam Darnold, who's playing like one of the best quarterbacks of all time. And is he? No, of course not. But he's playing like it, and that's the only thing that fucking matters. You have contributions coming from, their offense, their defense. They're just good in every sense of the word. So they go to 5-0. The Bears, how about that? And Caleb Williams, they roll the Panthers 36-10 at home. Williams had over 300 yards. The Ravens, 41-38 over the Bengals. Joe Burrow is saying that they're going to have to play perfect to beat the Ravens. Burrow damn near played perfect, but their defense gave up the ass. Their kicker could not make a kick, and they end up on the losing side of that one. They're 1-4. Ravens go to 3-2. The Texans and Bills. What a heartbreaker. So a lot of controversy over the coaching strategy at the end of the game. The Bills did a terrific job to come back in the second half. They tie the game at 20. They then get the ball back at their own 2-yard line. And at this point, the Texans still had 3 timeouts. So the Bills decided to throw the football. Well, the problem with that is when you're throwing the football, the clock's stopping, and the Texans don't have to use any of their timeouts. Well, they only had, 32 seconds from the first play. So as the seconds tick off, you can see this happening and see it happening. You're like, dude, they're going to get the 4th down. They're going to have to punt from the back of their end zone. On top of that, I just didn't like Josh Allen even throwing from the end zone for 2 reasons. Number one, if he gets sacked, that's a fucking safety. If there's intentional grounding, that's a fucking safety. Nothing good was going to happen out of that end zone. Run the ball, kneel the ball, do whatever you have to do. Just run it. And hopefully, and you never know this, right? Break a couple tackles, open space. Now you get out the 20, 30-yard line. Okay, now we can open it up a little bit. But They end up having a punt from the back of the end zone. The Texans get the ball. They run one play, 5 yards, middle of the field, kick a 6-yard field goal, and the game's over. Just brutal. McDermott, give him some credit. He took responsibility. I've seen people defend the decision. It's indefensible. You can't defend it. Because even if you're using the timeouts as the excuse, it's still one play. And the one play killed it. Where the Texans just ran a play to the middle of the field, 5 yards, timeout, sent the kicker out with, I think it was 1 or 2 seconds left, and that was it. So even if the Bills run it 3 times and they don't get any yards, right, which is basically you're in the same position, and the Texans use all the timeouts, at least the Texans have burned through their timeouts. So a heartbreaking loss for the Bills. They fall to 3-2. The Texans are now 4-1. The Jags 37-34 over the Colts. They get into the win column. They were the last NFL team without a win. So congrats to the Jags. Dolphins 15-10 over the Patriots in what was what I heard an unwatchable game. I wouldn't know because I didn't fucking watch it. Browns at the Commanders. Jaden Daniels and the Commanders 34-13 over the Browns. This is a team that's for real. They are for real. Broncos, 34-10 over the Raiders. Broncos cover the 3. The over 36 hits. Niners lose a heartbreaker to the Cardinals. They fucked this up. You can't turn the ball over. You just can't. Not in big situations. I mean, they were taking the ball into, they were going to win. Not only win, but they were going to win by, 10 plus points and fumble. Now, credit the Cardinals for making a great play and punching the ball out, but that was a rough one for San Francisco. So the Niners are now 2-3. Am I worried? I'm not worried at all. They're still the best team in the NFC West. The Cardinals go to 2-3. Niners are 2-3. Just Seahawks also lost too at 29-20 at home against the New York Football Giants. So the Seahawks are 3-2. They're in first place, but then you got all these other teams. The Rams go down to the Packers at home, 24-19. Rams they've been decimated with some injuries. And then the Steelers and Cowboys, last night it was the Cowboys 20-17 over the Steelers. Nobody really impressed there. Cowboys had a late touchdown that Dak Prescott was able to throw. But it's not like you're walking away from that game going, oh, wow, the Cowboys look great, or Steelers. It's sort of a defensive battle. It was interrupted with lightning delays and rain and everything else. But that is the world of football yesterday. Tonight, good sports day. We got the Saints at the Chiefs. Chiefs minus 5.5. I kind of like the Saints here. Yeah. We'll see. I'll dig deeper into it. The OU on that is 43. And then the Tigers at the Guardians. Let's see what the line is, if they have it here. They should. I mean, in my humble opinion, it should be the Tigers favored. I don't see any line right now. But then I mentioned, again, you got the Royals and the Yankees, which should be a good game. That one starts at 4:30 p.m. So there it is, your Monday morning daily hustle. A lot going on. I'm heading to the dentist. I got a paddleboard session. Got to play some pickleball. That's it. Everyone have a fantastic day. Back at you with a DH Mañana morning. See ya!